Welcome to episode 3 of Inside the Tank. I'm your host, Josh Raphael, and today I got two special guests for you. Our first guest, I just got to read out his stats, which are absolutely mind boggling. 48-0 record as a Shark, 2022-2023 NCAA champion, has the program record for steals and assists in a game, a Broward legend, Dallas Graziani. How you doing?
Good. I'm happy to be here.
We happy to have you back. First off, so I mean, obviously, we're here to kind of find out more about you. We hear the stats, we see what you're doing on the court, but I feel like a lot of people don't really know who Dallas really is, you know. So I mean, I'm just gonna take it all the way back. Like, what got you into hoops?
I started playing as long as I can remember since I could walk. My dad played in men's leagues when I was real little, and I have an older brother who kind of took after him, saw him playing, he wanted to play, and then I saw both of them playing, so I wanted to play, and I played for my dad and with my brother basically my whole life growing up.
Yeah, so do you kind of like miss having that though? You know, playing with your brother, and I'm assuming your dad was coaching you.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
talked about that. Like, how was that?
I played. So he's 2 years older than me, and I played travel basketball with him. So I would play up 2 grades, and my dad would coach the team, and I did that from the time I was in second grade until I graduated high school. So I played with my brother my whole life, and that was some of the best memories.
Yeah,
Playing travel ball, we went to all kinds of tournaments, and that's really where it all kind of came from was them two, and
yeah,
it was just I always loved it.
yeah. Do you feel like you playing like up 2 grades kind of helped your game?
Definitely, I
Yeah,
definitely think that I mean, I was playing against. I mean, I was always undersized,
yeah,
so I was playing against guys that were big for sixth grade when I was in fourth grade. So
yeah,
I'm playing against guys way bigger, and I think that that gave me an advantage in the long run. Obviously, when I
yeah,
was little, it was kind of hard for me to be really good. I think I was always good, but it definitely helped me in the long run. By the time I was in high school, and I'm playing varsity as a freshman or sophomore, or whatever, playing against guys bigger than me I was used to it, so it
yeah.
wasn't anything new.
So kind of what led to you choosing NSU? Obviously, I mean, the local aspect of it, but what would you say? Were there any other reasons that kind of led you to becoming a Shark?
I think just the like you said the local aspect, but the play style, the up tempo. I when I would play travel ball for my dad, when we first started playing, well, when my brother was in fourth grade, I was in second. We would press a little bit, and then as we got older, the press wasn't as good, but I would still pick up full court. So
Yeah.
I'd pick up full court pretty much my whole life,
Hmm.
and then kind of seeing the way that they play here at NSU and how fun it is.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So it was very appealing to me.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've alluded to earlier, you've had a great career so far at NSU. 2022, 2023, you guys win your first national championship in school history. But we're going to go back to the year before that in 21, 22. Started off great. You ended up getting injured. Kind of talk to me about like how you navigated through that to kind of overcome that. Because being an athlete, it's hard to deal with injury, you know? So kind of talk to us about how you were able to navigate through that.
I think it was hard. It was my first big injury. I'd never really broken anything other than like a finger or something that you could play through.
Hmm.
So that was the first big injury I had. So it was really different, kind of not being able to play, not being able to practice. But I kind of took it as like a learning experience, a learning year, as well as the year before that was COVID year. That was my first year here. Didn't have a season, but we had a whole year of playing and stuff, practicing. So I kind of took that approach to it. Obviously, we still had Nick Smith playing, so had some good guys to kind of look up to and follow, and just take another year, learning everything, and really just understanding what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. And like I said, 22, 23, you know, helped, you know, NSU win their first national championship in school history. As a local kid, you know, you go to a school that's pretty local to you, and to win the first national championship in school history and play a big part in that. Talk to me about the emotions you felt.
It was amazing. I think also the kind of connection we had as a team. We had a lot of guys from the COVID year, the year prior going to the Elite Eight. So we had that connection. We all had the desire. So I think from the years prior, it also made it that much sweeter when we won. But then yeah, being local and everything, it was a great feeling because we're bringing a trophy back to NSU, but back home also.
Yeah.
So it was sweet.
And then you end up transferring to Sanford. Um, Talk to us a little bit about that experience. I mean, obviously now you're going to the Division 1 level. Obviously D2 has a lot of great talent, but now I feel like the guys are a lot bigger in the Division 1 level, etc. Talk to us a little bit about that transition, how it was playing at Sanford. Not to mention in Birmingham, Alabama. That's
Yeah.
not South Florida, so I know it's a big difference.
Yeah, the scenery was a big change for me. I mean, it doesn't even get that cold there, but when it gets 40 degrees, that's freezing for me. That 50 is cold, so
Yeah.
and it goes on for a couple months, so it's
Yeah.
not just a week where it's cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good experience. I think that, like you said, the guys are generally bigger. I think every team has a guy 6'10" or taller, basically. So from the size and athleticism, I think that's where the difference really is. But overall, I think the talent is there in both Division 1 and Division 2. I think there's guys that I've played against and played with that I could definitely see playing Division 1, as well as some guys just get an opportunity at the Division 1 level.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're as good as guys in our conference. Maybe they're a little better, or whatever. But I think overall, it's just a good experience to kind of see that level, play that level. Also was able to make the tournament. That was a great experience, being in March Madness. So that was kind of crazy. But
And y'all played Kansas, so kind
yeah,
of talk a little bit about that too, because it's
Yeah.
not like you guys just played any team. You played a
Yeah.
blue collar team. Like, how was that?
yeah, it was crazy when they did the selection show and we saw we were playing them. The game was close. It was a good game to be a part of.
Controversial goaltending call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't got to get into that though.
But yeah, playing guy like Hunter Dickinson, he's 7 feet tall. He's a legit.
Yeah.
That's a big guy.
Yeah.
Not many 7-footers in Division 2. So it was definitely interesting. Also playing against Kansas. That's a team that you watch growing up and stuff. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, and you talk about 7-footers. I have to bring this up because you're a viral sensation. Zach Edey, I believe you and Zach Edey were going for tip. Did you think, hey, maybe I could win this tip, or were you just like, hey, we're just gonna just jump and hope for the best?
No. It was a fun experience to kind of promote that. Like, you see how big like some guys look, and then someone like him. Obviously, I walked up right to him to do the jump ball, and it's just like it's like this guy's huge.
Yeah.
But no, it was the plan we had was it almost worked a little bit. We were just gonna trap off of it. But no, it was fun. It was a fun experience.
How did that even come about though? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, what led to it? Like, okay, we're gonna make Dallas jump with Zach Edey. Like, what?
Well, it was really my head coach, and he was like, "We're not gonna win the jump ball. So what if we just threw you out there and said you were gonna do it? Like, would you do that?" I was like, "Yeah, like we're not gonna win the jump ball. So I think it would be a cool little promotion for the game."
Yeah. So obviously after that, you get your experience at Sanford. Would you definitely say like playing at the Division 1 level and playing at Sanford has helped like your game develop or blossom in a sense?
I would say that. I think every year, every opportunity is just you get a little bit better from it.
Yeah.
I think overall, just seeing kind of a different play style and everything as well.
Yeah.
Kind of what is ran there, the X's and O, how they do things.
Yep.
I think it all kind of helps overall with my game and kind of understanding the game and how to play and everything like that. Taking the good and bad and kind of using them to my advantage.
Yep. And now the question that I feel like everyone's been waiting for: Dallas Graziani comes back to Nova Southeastern University, kind of like LeBron going back to Cleveland. A bit of a homecoming. So, what brought you back to NSU?
I think it was just the experience that I had here prior to leaving. I loved it. Stanford was a great experience, but I ended up going to the transfer portal, and I talked to Coach Nick right away. Basically, he called me soon after I went in the portal, and as soon as I talked to him, I knew it was a big possibility that I could be coming back, and I just really loved the idea of that. I love being home. I love being back in the system, playing for Coach Crutch, the guys on the team. I love all the guys on the team, the guys they recruit. So I just really loved the experience before, and I thought it would be great to come back and kind of try to have that experience again.
Yeah, and I mean, home game tomorrow. Going to be able to play in front of your family again more consistently. talking about those emotions, how that's like having that support system, be able to kind of be there now every single home game and not having to take a trip to Birmingham.
Yeah.
They could just drive down the street.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. When I when I was here before, there'd be games where I would have close to 20 family members and stuff come out to the games, so it'd be awesome. I mean, up there and at Sanford, I would have at most maybe like 5 or 6 when the parents and grandparents would come up. But yeah, no, it'll be awesome to see everybody at the games and look up in the stands and just see everybody, and then also just the student population.
Yep.
Usually have a pretty good turnout, so that'll be fun to see and be back with again.
Yep, and you've had a great start to the season. I'm pretty sure you had a near triple-double, had like 17 points, 17 assists, 9 steals, which is an insane line. So kind of talk to me a little bit. Obviously, a championship's the goal, but do you have any kind of other goals that you set out for yourself going into this year?
I think just kind of being the best player I can be.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you said, the championship is the goal.
Yeah.
That's what we're all after.
Mm-hmm.
The individual awards and all that stuff, those will come or they won't. That's we'll leave that to whoever decides that.
Yeah.
We'll just try to win and be the best we can be.
Yeah. And to close out our episode, I do this with everybody. I got to ask, this is a very important question. What are your top 3 go-to snacks/candies?
Top 3 go-to snacks/candies. I recently have been eating a lot better.
Okay.
So I used to guys.
Great answer, by the way. Great answer.
I have guys on the team that were here before. I'll be like eating something in the locker, and they're like, "You don't eat like a lot of bad stuff like you used to." I'm like, "No, not really. I used to always have a pack of candy or something with me." But I'll say like my go-tos back then would probably be. I was a big Sour Patch watermelon guy.
Okay. Fire.
I used to love Pringles. I was a big Pringles guy.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Pringles,
Maybe
Sour Patch. That's
maybe like
choices.
Snickers or Twix.
okay.
Yeah, a little candy bar.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. We had Coach MacArthur tell us he likes donut and I don't know what else he said, so he didn't really give us the traditional answer. So those are pretty valid
I'll
answers.
tell you,
right
I've
there.
been craving some donuts lately.
Yeah, those are pretty valid answers right there. But Dallas, we appreciate you coming on. We're happy that you're back with us as a Shark. Thank you all for watching. We will be back shortly with our second guest. And we're back with our second and final guest. I have to read off some of his accomplishments as well. I mean, one of the most decorated players in program history. Bevo Francis Award winner, SSC Player of the Year, NABC National Player of the Year, National Champ. I mean, I'm running out of breath saying all these things. But without further ado, RJ Sunahara, how are you doing, my guy?
I'm good, Josh. How are you doing?
It's good to have you back, man.
Good to be back, man.
No,
I
for
feel
sure.
like I'm at home right now.
For sure. So we're just going to kick it off in terms of like more of your college experience. And I think a lot of people don't know that you were recruited by Joe Mazzulla. And if you don't know who Joe Mazzulla is, Boston Celtics head coach, NBA champ, I mean, he's an absolute wizard. Kind of talk to me about that, like how that recruiting process was. And I know you redshirted that year, but what was it like kind of being under his guidance?
No, it was cool, man. It was a great experience. I thought Joe was one of the best basketball minds I've been around, besides coach here.
Yeah.
But recruiting process was cool. I mean, he was really close with my family during the whole thing. He actually came and watched me play a scrimmage for football when I was playing in high school.
Yeah.
And then drove me down to Fairmont State where, I mean, I took my official visit, felt like home from the start. He was at my house eating dinner with my family and stuff in Cleveland, Ohio. So that was pretty cool. And then just learning from a guy like that is always great. You know, he like you said, Boston Celtics head coach, NBA champion. So I was just trying to learn as much as possible from him during my one redshirt year there. And I did. You know, he was really hard on us as players, but at the end of the day, he was always telling us he loved us. So, I mean, I kind of enjoyed that tough love where it was, you know, on the court, it's no holds barred, you know, going crazy all the time. He was wired differently. But, no, it was awesome. Like, after practice all the time, he'd yell at me for 2 hours straight, and then afterwards tell me he loved me. So I really enjoyed that and appreciated that.
Yeah, and you played football in high school?
Yes, sir.
What position you played?
Wide receiver and safety.
Oh my gosh! So they were just throwing just jump balls to you? Like,
A little bit. I mean,
Got you.
my quarterback in high school wasn't great.
Got you.
Shout out, kind of show. That's my boy.
But what made you decide to kind of go the basketball route?
I just loved it more. Like I think football is different. You know, you get bonds with some of your teammates, but some of your teammates aren't really your like best friends.
Yeah.
Whereas basketball, such a small group of guys, it's 15 guys. You kind of get to know everybody a little bit more, and I just really like the camaraderie of that.
Yeah. And now you transfer and you come to NSU, kind of what led to you becoming a Shark. You know what I mean? I mean, you're leaving Joe Mazzulla, et cetera. So kind of talk to us about that process and how that was like.
Yeah, I mean, the transfer portal now is crazy. You know, I mean,
different. Yeah.
And so like, I hopped in the portal probably a week after Joe left, trying to feeling out whether I wanted to stay at Fairmont or not. And ultimately, some decisions were made at Fairmont where I thought leaving would be the best thing for me. And Coach Fee, who was here at the time, he kind of reached out to me as soon as I hopped in the portal. We got on a phone call. A week later, I'm on a flight down to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And then right after my visit, I mean, it was great. I felt like family right away. Loved the coaching staff. Loved Coach Crutchfield.
Yeah.
And then probably right after I got off the flight from Fort Lauderdale to Cleveland, I told my parents I want to be a Shark.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer.
Yeah. And kind of, you mentioned Fee, who's now the assistant coach at FAU, and we saw what he did again, and I mean, that was honestly unbelievable. Kind of talk to me about like how he's really helped your development as not just a player, but as a person.
Oh, I owe a lot to Coach Fee. He's done so much for me, basketball-wise, personally. I mean, he's like a brother to me. And big thing I want to accredit him to was just my work ethic. It was after my junior year, after we went 32-1, lost in the Elite Eight of the tournament, and I was entering the portal then.
Yeah.
Not sure whether I wanted to go somewhere else or stay here.
Yeah.
And part of me was like, I want to be pushed.
Yep.
And Coach Fee was kind of puzzled at that, and he was like, "Why? I think we're pushing you here." And I'm like, I want to be pushed more. He's like, "If you want to be pushed more, go to a military school," you know. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You know, if you want to be told what to do every day, then go to a military school. They'll make sure you're waking up at 6 a.m. every day. They'll make sure your bed's made." So I took that a little personally. I didn't really understand it at the point, but it kind of made me work harder because a guy like Coach Fee, who I loved and respected, he was I felt like he was disrespecting me.
Yeah.
But thinking back on it now, he was just trying to make me like push myself, not have somebody else push me, if that makes sense.
Yep, 100%.
So, I mean, that was kind of a wake-up call to me. And now looking back on it, I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me.
Yep. And kind of talking, obviously we talked about this transition a little bit, and now you're transferring to NSU, and who plays a completely different play style than a lot of teams in the country. I mean, you guys are pressing, trapping, and that's more of something you probably see like at the high school level, to press full court, like the whole game. You don't really see a lot of college teams be able to do that so effectively. So talk to me about how you were able to adapt to that system.
I mean, the coaches push it every day.
Yep.
Like, we're telling these guys that they need to play harder every day. And I think when you get 15 guys to buy into one system, it's really hard to be that one odd guy out who's not doing it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like get in or get left. So you're either doing it or you're not going to play.
I've always wondered, what kind of conditioning do you guys do? You don't got to tell us the secrets, but I'm just curious if you could just give us a little bit of just something. Like, what type of, because you have to be in shape to play in that type of system.
It's open. We play open gyms to 140.
Yeah.
Like almost every day in the off season.
Okay.
So it's full court pressing the whole time.
Yeah.
Playing to 140, and it just kind of trains you to play hard.
Yep.
You got to run back on defense every time, or else you're going to get scored on. So I would say a lot of that is that, and it's a fun way to do it too, because you're not just running up and down the court with no purpose. You're actually trying to win the game, and I think that's the best conditioning there is.
Yeah. And you alluded to earlier, obviously in 2021, 2022, obviously a sour spot. You guys fall short after an unbelievable season. Then you come back next year, undefeated, first national championship in school history. Talk to us a little bit about that journey, what it was like. Obviously, I know you were kind of dealing with your own things in terms of wanting to enter the portal and then have that discussion with Fee. But talk to us about that, just that, what happened and kind of like what led to you guys winning that national championship.
It was a fun journey. Like that was the most fun I've ever had playing basketball, because I mean, our whole team was together for about 3 or 4 years. So like we were a tight-knit group, all hung out together. There was nobody who was left out of anything, you know. But I mean, I would accredit most of that to just being good teammates to each other. Like every night, somebody was the highest scorer.
Yep.
Like whether it was Will Yoakum, Kobe Rogers, Jonathan Pierre, Dallas Graziani, like every game, it seemed like one of those guys was stepping up and scoring 25 points.
Yep.
So I thought just our balance, the depth we had. I mean, we had Shane Hunter, didn't play a lot that year. Following year comes in, he's an All-American. So I think going up against guys in practice every day who are really good players, who could be really good players at another Division II school, but they took a step back to really help our team out, be practice players where in reality they could be really good D2 players somewhere else. I think that's really a positive or a plus that we have, where we're going up against really good competition every day in practice.
Yep.
So when we get out in the game, it's a little easier.
Yep, 100%. And obviously after winning that national championship, and I've mentioned just a sliver of your accomplishments that you've had. I mean, the list goes on. You know, too much to write on this page right here. But in my eyes, I mean, you've kind of accomplished everything at the Division II level that you possibly could accomplish. And now, okay, you transfer to Georgia. So talking about that now and that transition and kind of what led to that.
A lot of talks with my family. Didn't want to leave here, I'll tell you that much. This place is like a home away from home for me. All the people here are great, treat me like family. Ever since I stepped foot on campus, I haven't had really one bad interaction with anybody. So it was tough. Kind of just everybody on my team left, you know. Kobe, JP, Dallas, Will graduated. So those were all my guys. Those were all really good friends of mine. It was tough seeing them leave, and it's kind of like you said, accomplished everything I wanted to at the Division II level. Big thing for me was I wanted to win a national championship before I left anywhere, whether that was Fairmont State or Nova Southeastern. Obviously, the Fairmont State had different circumstances, but here I knew I wanted to win a national championship. That was kind of all I was focused on. And after we did that, it was kind of like, man, what now? And talking to my family, talking to my grandparents, who are big influences in my life, it was kind of like, you know, it's kind of time to take that next jump. You got to see where you're at athletically. And my dad always said, I mean, I don't think I was the best player in the gym by any means, but if you're the best player in the gym, you're in the wrong gym. So part of that led into the decision. Went to Georgia. It was a really good experience. I mean, I was around a lot of great people. I loved Athens, Georgia, all those people. It's almost like a little bit like this field down here where it's everybody's family, treated like family. Mike White, head coach there, great guy. Loved Coach White. Great basketball mind. But first exhibition, I got hurt, sadly. Just kind of going through that process. It was tough mentally. Just never really been hurt like that ever in my life. Kind of felt, I mean, I was feeling sorry for myself, which probably shouldn't have, you know, probably should have fought through it, but a little bit of that. And then came back, just didn't feel like I was the same player as I was before. I mean, I was trying my best to work my butt off to get back, rehabbing and everything. But just wasn't the year I wanted to have individually. Team-wise, though, pretty good. Made the NIT Final Four. So, I mean, it was a really, really good year, but definitely tough mentally. Definitely tough.
What would you say was the biggest difference? Because you didn't just go D1, you went to a Power 5 institution that you're playing against arguably the best college basketball players in the world. So what would you say is the biggest difference between the Division I level, especially that level, and the D2 level?
I would say the size. You're playing against 7-footers every day. And, I mean, those 7-foot to 6'11" guys, they can do it all. They can dribble, they can shoot it, they can pass it. Whereas maybe at the D2 level, you'll get a 6'10", 6'11" guy who's really talented, but, you know, maybe is missing one of those two things. Maybe he can't dribble as well. Maybe he can't pass as well. Whereas Power 5, Division I, you're playing against a 7-footer who can do it all. And it's a scary sight, you know. and you see that matchup, you're like, holy crap, you know, maybe I'm not built for this. But, you know, I thought it was great for me because I got to measure myself up against, like you said, the best of the best in the college world. And, I mean, there was no day I took for granted at that level. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. But, like I said, you know, wasn't my best personally, but just happy I got to do it and grateful that those guys gave me a chance and took a chance on the little D2 guy.
Yeah. And now it's the Coach Sunahara era, you know? So let's dive into that and unpack that. What led to you coming back to NSU, the return? I know I told Dallas earlier, it was like LeBron going back to Cleveland, and you're an Ohio guy, so this probably will apply a lot more to you, but kind of talk to me a little about like what led to you coming back here as a coach.
It was kind of funny. So I was visiting Shane and Tommy Sala, who's on the team right now, and Alex Mangold. Those are three of my closest friends. Consider them some of my best friends, and just kind of hanging out with them, just on vacation. No, you know, not thinking work at all. And Coach Crutch and Coach Nick called me into the office, and they're like, you know, I'm thinking, oh, they're just going to talk to me about whatever, my season, see how I am and everything like that. And I go in there and Coach was like, you know, Mike Chalice just left for Gannon University, took over as an assistant there. They're like, you know, Mike Chalice just left. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And Coach was like, what do you think about taking that spot on the staff? And in my mind, I'm like, what the heck? You know, I was not expecting to get a job offer right now. So then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, heck yeah, you know, I would love to. So then Coach starts asking me a bunch of questions. He's like, so what would you do in this scenario? He starts giving me basketball, you know, he starts drawing on the board, and I'm like, I was not prepared for this at all. And I definitely bombed. I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm flustered.
like
I'm very flustered.
Yeah, it's like taking a test you didn't study.
Exactly. It's like having a pop quiz, but it's, you know, it's a job interview. And I'm like, holy cow. So we go through that whole process, and I'm walking out, and I'm texting Nick, and I'm like, I did not get the job. I'm not getting hired. I just bombed. And then Nick was like, don't worry about it. You know, we're gonna offer you the job. So that was, I was just really grateful and thankful that they were thinking of me during that time. And I mean, like I said earlier, this place is home away from home for me. Like, those guys treated me like family from the start, and now I want to give them something back. You know, be as best as I can in the coaching world, and just kind of work as hard as possible so that I can prove those guys that they made the right decision.
Did you ever envision yourself coaching hoops?
Oh, always. I wanted to play professionally for probably my whole life, and then my whole goal was, after I played professionally, going to coaching, because I couldn't really see myself at a desk job. I might be a little too tall for that. But you know, going through the professional route, it was difficult to see myself being away from my family for 8 months out of the year, because, you know, as a professional going overseas, you don't get too many breaks. We got a lot of guys over there right now, and I mean, they're thriving over there. But it's tough for them because you're not around your friends all the time, and you're not around your family. You miss some major holidays. But I couldn't really see myself doing that. So as soon as they offered me the player development coaching job, I was kind of like, it's a no-brainer. I always wanted to be around basketball, and this is what a spot to be in. You know?
And obviously you get the job, and now you're coaching. And obviously, like you said, you wanted to go the professional route kind of first, but now you kind of pivoted and you're coaching a lot sooner than you think. So talk to me a little about that transition and how that was like in terms of actually now being a coach rather than a player and a snap of the finger.
It was definitely tough the first couple of weeks, because Coach still has me playing with some of he still has me playing some days, and I was playing in a lot of those open gyms preseason.
Were you torching?
I was trying to. But, you know, I was, you know, talking some smack to some of the players, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I'm a coach. I shouldn't be talking like that. You know what I mean? So kind of differentiating when I'm at least playing, that is being a player and then being a coach. I mean, I think that was the biggest thing. I think now I've been getting a lot better at it. kind of gaining these guys' respect,
Yeah.
and then them gaining my respect too
Yeah.
a little bit. But no, it's been great so far. Coach Nick is helping me out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of been in my situation where he was a young coach, kind of put into a position where fresh out of college, playing wise, and then going right into it. He was a GA when I was playing, and I knew I gave him a hard time. So
Yeah.
when these guys give me a hard time, Coach Nick's always like, "Hey, remember what you were doing to me?" It's kind of funny, but it makes me appreciate Coach Nick a little more, and just kind of really, really grateful for my position I'm in right now.
Yeah, and kind of you mentioned Coach Nick, so let's talk about that a little bit. Obviously, you played with him, and like he was also your coach, so it's kind of like the best of both worlds in a sense. And I know you kind of talked to us a little bit about like kind of how much he's helped you, but let's get a little more in depth, like look into like how y'all relationship really is, because you guys aren't just like staff members or whatever case. Like you guys are genuine like friends, and you can see that, and how you guys kind of operate around the office, on the court, etc. So kind of talk to us a little about your relationship and how much he really has helped you.
That's my guy right there, man. Nick is one of my favorite people of all time. Just a great guy to be around all the time.
He's gonna like to hear that.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm getting some brownie points right now. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, that's one of the hardest working guys I know. I mean, he's first one into the office, last one out. If you're not on your stuff, he's gonna make sure you're on your stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he holds people accountable, which I really appreciate, because you need that. You can't just be slacking off. And I know there's days where I want to slack off, but he's making sure that I'm keeping my head straight, hard working, no nonsense. So, and like you said, I played with Nick for 4 years. We've been through a lot together. We've been through some tough losses, some emotional wins. So I think that just builds our bond a little stronger, and it makes us a pretty good duo on and off the court.
Yeah.
So I appreciate him for putting in a good word for me to get this job.
Yeah. And to close off our episode, I normally do a top 3 like go-to snacks. That's normally what I do. But considering that you're an Ohio native,
Okay.
and I'm a bit of a LeBron fan, I gotta ask you this: who is your GOAT?
LeBron James, easy.
So
it's not even a question.
So
Josh.
why is LeBron your GOAT?
Okay, all-time leading scorer. Well, 4-time NBA champion.
Yes.
4-time NBA champion.
Yes.
Yeah. What else do I have to say?
I mean,
they're the leading scorer.
That's it.
I mean,
and he's doing this at 40 years old.
Exactly. He's been in the league, what, to year 22 right now? 23?
Yes, year 22. Insane.
And he just had a double-double last night, right?
Look, he had 3 straight triple-doubles. 3 straight.
How can you
You know what I mean?
argue that?
Like, I'm not trying to argue with the MJ fans here, but, I had an Ohio guy. I had to see kind of, like...
I'm from Cleveland, too. So,
oh, so you're really...
Yes,
bro.
I've been through the thick and thin.
Yeah.
But he left Cleveland in 2000 and whatever that was.
Yeah. Were you heartbroken?
Yeah, I threw away my jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It was tough. I mean,
No.
you got to think. I was watching that guy growing up, and then I'm like, dang, he left.
Yeah.
To go to an Eastern Conference team.
Yeah.
Let alone, you know. So that was heartbreaking for me.
What was it like, though, when he came back?
I remember I was down here, actually. I was at AAU Nationals.
Yeah.
I was in Orlando, Florida. Was it Kissimmee is how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Kissimmee?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at a Waffle House with my mom and my sister and my teammates. And somebody's like looking at their phone. They're like, LeBron's coming back to Cleveland. And everybody's like, no shot. No way. You're lying.
Yeah.
Start looking. Everybody looks at their phone. ESPN's tweeting it out.
Just blowing up.
Everybody at the thing goes crazy. We're all jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at us like we have 3 heads. And we're like, LeBron's coming back to
Yeah.
Cleveland. And it was the biggest news of all time.
Yeah.
I remember being like the happiest 8th grader of all time.
So what was it like when he won, though? When they won in 2016, was that like, what did that mean for the city of Cleveland? Especially being from Cleveland, like, what did that mean?
There's not a lot going on in Cleveland. You know, I mean, there's a lot to be sad about if you live in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask the people in Cleveland, there's a lot to be happy about, which I think is awesome. You know, people kind of look at Cleveland as a crappy city. You know, nobody wants to visit there. But if you're from Cleveland, you love it, and you find the little things to enjoy about it. So, I mean, him winning, that was like the biggest thing since sliced bread in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You had people downtown kissing the street, you know, hugging random people because they were just so happy that there was something to root for. And I think that's what's awesome about Cleveland is that they love their sports. And everybody roots for Cleveland teams. There's
100%.
no rooting for other teams. There's no rooting for the Yankees. You know, it's all Cleveland. So it was awesome. I mean, I was sitting in my friend's basement watching the game with all my buddies, and they win. We all run outside, and we're in a suburban neighborhood in the west side of Cleveland, and there's a ton of people outside, and we're all just screaming to each other. Like, people I don't even know. I'm just like, the Cavs won. They're like, heck yeah. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But that was cool. It was cool.
Well, RJ, I appreciate you for coming on. All our fans that are watching, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I'm looking at the camera when I say this. Shark fans, I need you guys out there Friday at 7 p.m. in the Rick Case Arena for the men's basketball home opener against Walsh University. You don't want to miss it. We want to break the attendance record. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Inside the Tank out.